Hiya, Puddins. You're watching Sheehan is Dead Comics.
Yeah, you're watching that. So have a good time.
Welcome, all you Sheehanites, to another special episode of Sheehan is Dead Comics. Today I'll be talking with the one and the only Tara Strong, voice of Batgirl. She's also done Harley Quinn, I believe most recently on the Arkham games, Arkham Knight, and also the Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. So without further ado, here's Tara.
How you doing?
Good, how are you?
We made it.
We made it. I am so enthused to speak with you. I'm very grateful
you're
for
so
your time.
sweet. Yeah, thanks for having me.
So great to have you on. I am such a big fan. I'm sure you get that a lot. Just indulge me for a moment. I
Okay.
love I love your stuff on Batman. You were on the new animated adventures, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, every single time I see Batgirl on a script, I get pretty freaking excited. You
Yeah.
know, it's not a thing that's lost by me how iconic and lucky it is to be part of that universe in any way, let alone play one of the coolest female characters in Arkham ever. Actually, two of the coolest female characters in
Yes.
Arkham. Like, I think the universe God every single day. Like, it's very lucky to be able to have played such important female characters.
Yeah, most
Female
certainly.
characters. I played them all.
I remember Kevin Smith years ago when he had interviewed you. I think he said you were like a nice version of The Exorcist. Because you go into all these voices, you know?
I do all the time. If you
Yeah,
like
yeah,
live
yeah.
with me, if you hang with me, we have a girlfriend staying with us right now, and she's like, I never realized that you always did voices. She's like, it's all the time. And she's like, and I'm kind of here for it, and it's kind of addicting, and now I have to use voices. And I'm like, right, because it's easier to go, can I please have the money you owe me? Than can I have my money? Like,
Yeah.
voices are very helpful in society.
Yes. Yes, it's the way you say it in the tone. Yeah. So, how often do you catch yourself doing stuff like that? Are you making breakfast and you start singing in a
There
voice or?
isn't a moment where I'm not doing some kind of voice. Like I don't know like what my own voice really is. I have so many. And yeah, we have a lot of animals in the house, so every time you talk to an animal, it's got to have a cute voice.
Oh, yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, I'm silly. We like to be silly. Me and my boyfriend, we're always doing, and my kids, and my kids are great impressionists too. They don't really work in the business as much as I'd love, but my younger one actually wants to be animation show creator. My older one does music, but they're both really great mimics. They both got my ear.
Yeah, yeah. That's where it starts, right? With a great ear.
Right. And also like an acting background where it's like in you, not just like, oh, that person's kind of good looking, maybe take acting classes. I think
Yeah.
to be a successful voice actor, you really have to have that innate ability to bring characters to life with your imagination, with your instrument. And like a lot of times people will say to me, oh, I really want to get into voiceover. Oh, do you have any acting experience? Not to
Yeah,
be mean,
yeah,
just because
yeah.
I know having an interesting or odd voice isn't going to sustain a career. It could certainly book a job. And people have gotten lucky from like their sound being great for something, but
Uh,
to sustain a career in voiceover, you must come from an acting background. What kind you got?
Chocolate Lab.
Oh, cute.
Yeah, he's 2 years and 7 months, and
Wow, did you get him as a puppy?
I did.
Aw.
My mom, I take care of my mother, so when I'm at work, she wasn't getting outside. So
Mm.
I happened to think about it. I'm like, oh, I should get my mom a dog.
Then she's
So I
got a
got,
walker.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So now she has to go out every day. She goes out like probably about 4 times a day with the dog.
Amazing. That's great.
Yeah,
That's great.
yeah,
They
and
do bring life. They bring life to you.
they really do. To where I was
Mm.
thinking to myself because my dad died about like 15 years ago. So,
Mm-hmm.
and my mom's been with me probably about like 7 years. And I was like, how did we ever get by without him? Like life must have been,
Aw.
I guess life was boring, before he came because he had, like you said,
Mm.
he had so much life.
Yeah. Oh, that's so sad. We just rescued a puppy yesterday, and I wasn't sure I was ready because I'm sure you saw on my social, my big dog died last year, and I was like, she weighed more than I did, so it was like the idea of letting something else in that I love so much. I love them, as a dog owner. They're people that don't talk back, that look different, and the only time they would ever break your heart is when they're stopped. Like they're just the most amazing creatures. And I was
Yes.
like, oh, I don't know if I want to do this again. And since the fires happened, I like applied because I'm such a big animal lover. Like every shelter, I applied for foster adoption and I donated to everybody. And we got a text about this dog that um we'd be a good match for. So I went to go see her yesterday and I thought I'm not going to bring it home. Like I'll just go see because I said I would, but I don't know if
Yeah.
I'm ready. And I showed up and I opened the gate and she jumped into my arms.
Oh,
And it felt like she was like, I've been waiting for you to come get
yeah,
me. Like that's what it felt like. And I
yeah.
literally kind of froze and she followed me everywhere. Like I went to the bathroom. She's like already my dog. I'm like, what's happening? And she was like so sweet. And the foster parents who I loved so much, they said, we love this dog. We take her to work. Everyone's like, you're keeping this dog, right? Like she loves every person, every animal. She's just so sweet and confident. And I was like, "Oh my gosh, I don't know what to do." And I was like, I think she's really special. Like she's really special. So I brought her home and my boyfriend's like, "We're keeping this puppy." And
Oh,
she's
that's
so cute.
awesome.
She slept through the night on the bed curled up by her for at one point she was right in between us and another point she was like kind of cuddled in my butt, but she's like they're so special and you're afraid to like love something again. Right?
Yes.
Cuz like, oh,
Yes.
but then how can you not? Cuz they're so wonderful.
You're the best when it comes to Batgirl.
Oh,
And
thank you. That means a lot. I feel very connected to her. I really do.
well, you're sincerely, it's like, and of course we miss Kevin Conroy, but like he's Batman, you're Batgirl, Lauren Lester is Robin slash Nightwing to me.
Yeah.
And I know like many
Hamill
thousands
is
and millions of
Joker.
others.
Hamill is
Yes, Hamill's
Joker.
Joker, thank you. And speaking
Hmm.
of that, I remember I was so excited when I saw The Killing Joke in theater in that one night Fathom event,
Wasn't that
you know, and
cool?
yeah, and of course you start off the movie and I'm like, wow, this is so cool. I I,
Yeah.
I personally love that. What was your experience making that movie?
Oh my God, I was so
And
happy. Like I
and
said,
were you familiar with the story or no?
yeah, I definitely knew the comic, which I was, happy that they let me open and they wrote more for her
Mm-hmm.
that's not in the comic to give Batgirl and me more to do and play with and explore. And like I said before, anytime it says Batgirl on a script, my heart is very, very happy. It was very special to book that role, and I feel very symbiotic with her and connected with her. She feels very like me. Like
Hmm.
it's probably the only um big job I've done that's just my own voice. You know, when I booked that part, there was a lot of A-list celebrities, there was a lot of big talent. I had just moved here from Toronto, so a lot of them didn't know me, and I really just like felt I was her in these moments relying on my acting and my own voice, and they liked that. And we became one. So anytime she's on a script, I'm very, very excited. And as a kid, I was a fan. I collected comics of her because my sister
Yeah.
was a Wonder
Yeah.
Woman fan.
Okay.
And my family were all very, very big collectors. My dad had a World War II museum. My mom had over 100,000 postcards from the turn of the century. Like, we're collectors. And I wanted something different than my sister, even though I loved Wonder Woman. So I went Batgirl. And anytime I could find anything, she was my hero childhood. Although I loved the Super Friends, I loved Wonder Twins, I loved all that stuff. But Batgirl, she's the coolest. So, and also as an audience member, I prefer the stories and the animation darker. Like I
Yeah, me
do
too.
like when there's comedy and fun, but if I'm gonna get into a DC universe thing, I like it real and I like feeling the stakes of that. And The Killing Joke is a pretty dark story. It's one of the darkest.
Hmm.
And I loved doing it. Of course, I will cherish anything that has Conroy and Hamill in it. I mean, it feels so special. And we were all together at the Comic-Con in New York when they released it. And we were signing autographs together. And we did panel together. And it was like very, 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 very special. And I liked the script. I liked, it was always something Bruce Timm wanted to explore. And he's a genius. So I think he explored it in a way that was very classy.
Hmm.
And it got people talking. And whether you liked it or not, I think it was very well orchestrated and well performed and well animated and all the people that go into making an animated show good. There's a lot of players, there's a lot of pieces to that puzzle. And I think everybody did a really, really great job. I think arguably some of Kevin's best work as Batman when he has that crazy laugh at the end. It was like, oh my gosh, that guy's got range. Like he was great in that.
I think I I have no complaints about it. As I'm sure as you've seen, a lot of people are like, "Ew, Batman and Batgirl," but
Yeah,
that didn't bother me. I
no, me
understood
neither.
because the story itself, like they said, they could have shot it in like 40 minutes, so they had to add content,
Right,
and
right.
it gave you more time with the character to bond with her and understand where she's
Yeah.
coming
And
from.
also, if you've ever like thought of that, like let's see what it looks like. You may
Hmm.
like it, you might not, but you know you've thought about
Yeah.
it. That's what shipping is, right? The whole world of imagining these characters that you love dating each other or being with each other. There's so much art online about every character I've ever done shipping with someone. So like people are thinking about it and they're making art about it and they're writing fan fiction about it.
Yes.
So the fact that like we did explore that, like I said, in a very classy way, I don't have any complaints either.
Well,
Plus,
I
it was really fun to act it. It was really fun. It
sure.
was it was really
I bet
deep.
it was.
Yeah.
And knowing you're doing the Killing Joke, like, wow, we're doing this
Right.
mega story. Yeah.
Mega story, right? Like
Yeah.
not every comic takes off in that way. Comic book story, right? Takes off
Hmm.
in that way. Maybe even the biggest. Maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I remember your performance specifically when you're in Batgirl's talking to Batman after they had their rooftop time together, and you're like, I don't care if you don't care, and he's
I
like
don't
playing
care.
it.
I don't care.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, but like the just the passion in your voice, I
Yeah.
can hear the pitch of your voice in that, and I
Mhm.
thought that was well performed.
Thank you. Because
No,
we,
thank
as
you.
the performer, we see all the action in our minds and our third eye, whatever you want to call it. And that's why I say you have to come from an acting background. In order for you to feel something, in order for people to feel something when they're watching animation, a performer has to bring that character to life with their mind, with their soul, with their vocal cords in a way that you, as the audience, buys it,
Hmm.
wants to know what's happening to them, are invested in these characters. So I mean, as an actress, I feel so lucky because I also do on camera, but having done so much in animation, I've had the opportunity of playing hundreds, maybe thousands of characters that I would never get to in an on camera world.
Hmm.
Right? I'm certainly not going to play Timmy Turner in real life. Maybe when I started doing Batgirl, I could have done her on camera, but
Yeah.
you know, it's just a wonderful opportunity as an actor to really get your chops working and invest yourself in a bunch of characters in a really fantastical way that is pure imagination and pure feeling and energy and then it coming through and making people feel something, which I that's why I love doing cons. When you're doing a stage show, you know right away if the audience is with you. If you're doing a sitcom, there's a studio audience, you know right away if you're funny. But when you're doing a cartoon, you have no idea how people are
Right.
going to respond. And then you go to a con and people hug you and say, "This show saved my life. This character saved my life. I had no friends till this show. I wanted to end my life till I saw this character." You know, it's a very beautiful exchange of light, magic, and love to go to a con and meet people that were affected in some way by something you did. It's such a gift.
Did you say life magic?
Yeah,
That is a
light magic.
beautiful expression. That
Yeah,
life magic and love. That's beautiful. The
that's
way,
what we're all here to do. I
right,
mean, that's what we're all here to do. If you
right.
get that, and things like derail you or things feel off, if your main goal always is to spread light and love and make people feel seen and use whatever gift you have to
Hmm.
help, look at you with your mom. Not
Hmm.
everybody does that. Not
No.
everybody does that.
Hmm.
And you know what? God forbid you lost your dad. I lost my mom and dad. One day when she's not here, you're going to be able to say, I did everything. I shared my light, I shared my love, I shared my life love with light, and you'll always have that. You'll always
Hmm.
have that. And aren't we lucky that we have parents that we connect with that we want to do that for? I
Thank you.
miss helping my mom. My
Yeah.
mom had osteoarthritis and she had a walker, and I miss helping her put on her shoes. I miss getting into the car with her. Like all the things that might seem frustrating or challenging, like, oh, I miss her, you know, they say that grief is hard because you have to unlearn that someone is here to talk to.
Yes.
And I think that's very true. It's like, oh, I miss those interactions so much. So we're so lucky to have relationships that mean that much.
But there's times where my mom, she gets like, she'll get brain locked, and I have to remind myself that there will be a time where I'll be grateful that I may have been a little frustrated. Like, I would gladly exchange a little frustration for her presence.
100%.
You know what I'm saying? And also, I've heard
100%.
a friend of mine, he had said, he was talking about patience, and he said a lack of patience is usually due to a lack of love. And that just like blew my mind, you know? So I try to be very patient and gentle, especially understanding her condition.
Right.
You know, there's times where I have to like just catch myself and think, what am I going to say and how am I going to say it? You know,
Right.
how am I
And
going to say it?
patience is a life's work, I think. And also, when you talk about how you're going to say it, I have a sister with neurodivergent issues, and I watched growing up the bullies and what it looks like to come home and not be understood because you see the world differently. And we see that a lot today with kids. I mean, that's like for some reason never ending this bullying thing.
Hmm.
And when I speak to her and when I speak to other people on the autism spectrum or Asperger spectrum when they come to cons and stuff, I'm like, what will I say that they really want to hear in this moment? What's going to make them the highest happy? When my sister says, oh, I made this food by myself or whatever. She's older than me. Maybe someone would be like, "Oh, good for you. You made that." I'm like, "That's freaking awesome. I wish I could taste it." That makes her heart happy. What
Hmm.
are you going to say that's going to make someone you just met or someone you care about hearts happy? I think that matters. And if you're living your life mostly like that, by the way, there can be moments when you falter. We're
Most
human.
certainly. Most
But if
certainly.
you're mostly living your life from that place, I think the universe really likes that.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm a big believer. I have a strong faith and I'm grateful for it. And it helps keep me humble.
Yeah.
You know, and again, everything is about the action. Like you say, oh, well, let me tell you why I'm so humble. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
that's not humility. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I
It's
appreciate that.
important. Yeah, same. It's important.
Yeah, it is important. And, you know, smiles are free, but they're worth a lot. So,
They're worth a lot.
you know,
Yeah, ever
especially when
smile
you,
at a stranger? Like, hey, we're both humans.
yeah, yeah,
Have a
like,
great day.
right. Because we're all so caught up in our own bubble,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know, and everybody's got like a fish tank over their head because there's all these things going on, but we're all,
right.
you know, we touch
Yeah.
hands, we
Mm-hmm.
feel the same. So
Yeah. Yeah,
very
exactly.
cool. Now, um, the first Arkham game, Arlene Sorkin was Harley,
Mm-hmm.
as she always was. Bless her heart. R.I.P. When did you start doing that? Was it Arkham City into Arkham Knight?
Yeah, Arkham City was the first time. It was pretty terrifying because
Sure,
I did Batgirl alongside her.
sure.
I had seen her do Harley many times, and she is Harley. The character was created for her. There will never be better or more authentic. Like she's Harley. Let's be real.
Mhm.
And they brought me in because they wanted something different for the game, but inspired by what she created. And that was scary because she's Harley and it's such a beloved character. So it's like I knew I had to change the voice a little as per the director and writer and everyone's requests, but still honoring her. So that's like a fine balance, right? It's like a fine line to make sure I'm honoring her, I'm giving something to the audience that they'll like, and I really just hoped that they would. And I remember at Comic-Con the year Arkham City came out, and the poster where she's like turning around with Batman and her butt's to the camera, and it was like on a building at
Mhm.
Comic-Con, and we're doing all these interviews with Kevin, and it was really, really incredible. And then to see the positive response was like, ah, thank goodness they like me. They really like me. Because you just never know. And I've been lucky enough to play so many iterations of her as well as Batgirl. Because when you take on these characters, these are DC properties that, as you know, appear in many different versions, many different multiverses, right? Now they're in high school. Now Harley's darker than the Joker in this movie, or she's like all these different places that they have to be. When you're doing a video game, it's going to be very different than if you're doing the DC superhero girls. Even this last game I did, Arkham Shadow, I got to do full body mocap. So even that was a different experience from, a lot of the games we do usually have facial mocap on, but this was the first time I've done full body and it was really fun. Like it's the closest thing to like if there's a combination of on camera and voiceover, it's mocap because you have to hit certain marks on the soundstage, you have to know your lines by heart, you have to be, you know, more in an on-camera mode, except for like when it comes to idle lines, right? Like so much of acting is listening. So if Batman says, we gotta go, I'm like, all right. And then his next line is, did you get the combination? Let's say I'm just making this up. But if the player's still there, so he says we gotta go. All right, shall we go?
Yeah.
I'm waiting, and you got to give all the idle lines. That's the only part that's like dissimilar, and also you don't have to wait for a million hair makeup things. But every iteration of her is so fun, and I feel honored and lucky. She has throughout my career been my therapy. She
Hmm.
started out as an abused woman, as a sidekick character, and through the games really grew into her own power. And I was going through very similar emotional situations as I was doing those games, and sometimes I'd go in and there was a line I really would have liked to have said to my partner at the time, like, I got to get it all out. Sometimes when you're doing a video game, it's just you for 4 hours. So even if you're not doing 1,000 death noises, it's going to hurt when you're just talking for 4 hours.
Sure.
And so sometimes we'll get a little cranky, make sure we can split it up, get all. I never got cranky if it was Harley. I was like, this is my therapy. I'm going to get it all out right now. And so maybe that's why people liked her. Like my authentic truth is that I was growing with her
Mm.
and sort of becoming independently powerful, and she's become an icon. She's a character that, because of Arlene's origins and because of how
Mhm.
she's grown and all the artists behind everything that makes you fall in love with her, she's so gorgeous, she's so fun, everybody knows that feeling of being crazy in love. She's definitely an iconic pop culture character, no question.
Definitely. I spoke to Jimmy Palmiotti some time ago, and he was telling me how he believed that he and his wife, Amanda Connor, had, in their long run on the comic, they had turned her into the fourth pillar of DC. And I was like, wow, next to Batman, Wonder Woman, and Superman. And I would agree with that. I would agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you brought her to life. And like you said, with therapy, you can act out these angry or over the top emotions, and that helps pull the emotion out of you and helps you heal in kind of a roundabout way, right?
Yeah, for real.
Yeah.
It's real. Like, by the way, in Arkham games, when Joker died and I was crying. Tara Strong was crying in the studio. So I was feeling all of those emotions that your love just died. It's pretty heavy. So when
Sure.
people play games, by the way, there is a responsibility for the voice actor to make you, as the player, feel like you're in the game with us, going on this adventure with us. So it better feel real, you
Yeah.
know? This
There's
is the best argument against AI, right? I get that people are going to want to save money, and maybe for games where it's like, switch this button, fine. But if you're telling a story, there's you have to have people that experience real emotion to bring the audience in. Creativity is like so important in entertainment. Like the fear of AI taking over anything creative is like scary, but also like wrong, right? Like you
Yeah.
can use it, I guess, to help. I'm not against AI. I hope there comes a day where we're like, how do you cure dementia? And
Mhm.
AIs do this, right?
Mhm.
There's going to be wonderful things, and there's no stopping it. It's like the internet, it's a runaway train.
Mm.
So, how do we protect our voices, our art, our things? How do we protect them from being stolen? That becomes part of the question. How do we protect our work? Well, I do think video games is a place where they should not sacrifice real actors for moments in video games. I think it would be a big tragedy.
Sure, agreed. Disney, I don't know what their deal is, but they obviously use James Earl Jones' voice. And they have some sort of agreement where I guess they could keep using it even though he's not here
See, that's what I'm
anymore.
saying. If you play a legacy character
Hmm.
and a studio says we want to pay you for this character and use it for whatever they're doing, and here's this sum of money, and if someone's passed on, if they've got kids or charity, like
Like an
that's
estate.
fine with me. Like that's beautiful. This person created this character and it's getting to live on. That's great. That's great.
Well, I was thinking myself, when it comes to Kevin, if there was something that, Warner Discovery now could do or has done, with Kevin's significant other, that, his voice won't be lost to time now because he's gone. And if there was a way that they could work that out, because to hear another, even Roger Craig Smith, as great as he was in Arkham Origins, it's not Kevin Conroy. Like Kevin Conroy's the voice I hear like everybody else when I read my comics and my graphic novels.
I mean, me too. It was a huge loss when Kevin died. Kevin is the quintessential voice for Batman for so many millions around the world. When you read the comic, you hear his voice. He was born to play that role, to be a conduit for that entity that really brought people so much joy, entertainment, storytelling. Like, I have a lot of respect for all my cohorts that get to play it, but for me personally, he's that. At his memorial, they played a video of his life, and there were many moments of him on Comic-Con panels, and I'm beside him in all of them. And I was like, wow, I miss my cohort. He was just such a nice guy, and he was put on the earth to play Batman. So
Right.
yeah, yeah, that would be kind of cool if they did something.
Yeah, it seems, I
Yeah.
mean, it makes sense to me, but I mean, recently with all the changes they've had, they don't seem to do a lot of things that make sense. But
Plus,
we,
I think Hamill said he wouldn't do another Batman thing
right,
because of Kevin, so maybe we
sure.
could convince him that way.
Be like,
I
listen, the AI, it's set up, it's going to his estate, and blah blah blah. Don't worry about it. That would be wonderful because it would be a shame to lose him to time just because he's not here anymore.
Yeah. I would do that. I would like if I knew like, oh yeah, my voice, I'll do that and forever you pay for this animal rescue or this homeless org or kids cancer, like I would do that.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. And speaking of Kevin Conroy, in 2014, I met him at New York Comic Con.
Yeah.
And I stood in a line for well over 2 hours, like standing straight. And this is
You
my
guys
first,
are amazing. I feel so bad. I feel like I want to have everyone have little fold up chairs. Like those are long lines. And I've
yeah,
had people pass out. Like they're long
pass out.
lines. Yeah.
Well, speaking of passing out, I was very hungry and I was like, I need to eat. And my date at the time, she was with me, bless her heart for going with me. And it was my first Comic Con, so I didn't know to wear like insoles. I didn't know like I was going to be standing this long. So
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God, is it really worth it? But then as soon as I went up and met him, I mean, I turned into a 10-year-old boy again. And it wasn't what I was
Same.
expecting. Like I thought I'd be like, oh, this will be cool. Like, but I
Yeah.
just like melted and my eyes were glassy and
Aw.
Kevin was so sweet. And after we exchanged a few words, I commended him. I'm like, I could not imagine meeting all these people all day long, regardless of whatever income you're making, and you're still nice to me like I'm the first person in line. Like I was amazed because me personally, like I would have to be drugged or have like a flask with me to endure that, you
Yeah.
know? No matter that whatever I was making that day, but he treated me so sweet. And I saw him in the middle of the afternoon, so it wasn't the morning. Like he had been doing this thing for hours and
Yeah.
hours. And he was so sweet and so tender. And I'm like, can I take a picture with you? He's like, yeah, sure. He puts his arm around me. I put my arm
Aw.
around him, and I'm
Yeah.
like fist pumping in the picture. And it was like meeting Batman. Like I melted. I melted.
Aw, I love that. He was very good to his fans.
Yeah,
He,
he
well, by the
was.
way, most voice people are.
Yeah.
Most voice people understand this moment. You are not there for the money, by the way. That
Right.
exchange of light magic is why you're there.
Mhm.
And to get to feel people like loving you. Like you said, people get glassy eyed, people cry, people pass out, people like, wow, it means so much. Let me share this moment. And most voice actors will give people that time because that's what we're there to do. I have seen some other not voiceover people just next, 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 which like kind of makes me mad because they're not, you're not really there for the autograph. You could lose that, something could happen. Yeah, that's nice, but you're there for that moment with someone that you've loved for a long time, and it should be reciprocated.
Yes, yes. It was, yeah, like you said, it's not
Hmm.
about the money. It was
No.
like, I don't know, I just felt like this, like my heart just jumped out of my chest and like we just kind of like bonded at that moment. And it was the
Yeah.
sweetest thing. It was the sweet.
Yeah.
I
And you
have
know what?
the,
He'd remember you if you saw you a year later. He'd remember you.
yes, yes, that's what I heard too. Like I've interviewed a fellow named James who does geek radio.
Uh-huh.
Uh,
Yeah.
Yeah, you know James, and he's
Yeah, yeah.
like, "Yeah, Kevin remembers me, and you called me, hey, Radio James." Like that.
Aw,
And
cute.
he
Yeah.
got such a big kick out of the fact that Kevin always remembered him.
I love
Yeah,
that. That's very
yeah,
Kevin.
very
Yeah.
true, very
Yeah.
true. Now, do you have a favorite memory from working on the animated show for the time you did? I mean, obviously the company you had, but was there a
Yeah,
favorite
like
episode?
every day was so fun to come in there and sit in between Hamill and Conroy and watch them go at it and all the amazing guest stars that we had. It was a very, very cool show to work on. We did a table read like they do for on camera shows. It felt like acting wise, it was on camera. It was very like real. Even today, it holds up as pretty real, right? Instead of like
Mhm.
over the top animation. And I have so many great, great memories because it was always awesome. But my favorite episode is Girls Night Out. I just love
Yeah,
that episode so much. It's just so cute that they're like towels in their hair and being girls and then going off and kicking ass. Like I just love that episode. But yeah, there were so many great memories. Like I was such a classic cast. Ephraim Zimbalist Jr., obviously, um, um,
and Andrea Romano was
Andrea Romano
directing you guys.
directing. There's so many good guest stars too, and that's where I met Arlene and saw her do her brilliant work, and it was wonderful.
And again, that's when you guys were actually in the same room because
Yeah,
that was like one of the things that made it so awesome
yeah, we're all
is it
playing
was
off each other. You feels like a family when you're in there.
right, and the energy's going and everybody's
Mhm.
connecting.
Mhm.
Whereas, how about when you're recording by yourself now? Because that's the big thing now, right? Other than when you
Yeah,
did.
I do Teen Titans with the full cast on Zoom.
Yes, I'm sorry, I saw that.
No,
Yes,
no,
that
that's
was cool.
okay. But you're right. Most shows we do alone since COVID.
Yeah,
And there's pluses and minuses. The minus is you're right, it's fun. It felt like a family. And when you are in the room with the other actors, you're feeling their energy. And if someone says a line like, we gotta go, you might go, okay. Like you're gonna respond in a way that may have been unexpected. So you don't get that. However, LA is a bitch to drive in, so you don't have to drive anywhere. You could be in your pajamas and play with your dogs and your kids and go get a snack whenever you want. There's pluses and minuses. And I think when you've been working as long as I have, and there's a lot of us in the business have been working a very long time, we have a pretty good guess of what our cohorts are going to do. And a lot of us are good at self-directing. I'll do all my own auditions. Sometimes I'll be in this studio for 3 hours on one audition. Like we all still really, really care about what we're doing and what we're making. And so it's still a very creative process. It's just a little bit less fun. It's fun to be with everyone.
yeah, and I mean, and also it's the experience of whoever the voice director is.
It's
You
a big,
know,
big experience. Yeah.
right, because if they're like this, then it's like, all right, give me more, give me this. But if they're like interacting and, pulling it out of you, you
Yeah.
can, it's a better time and there's more energy coming.
Hmm.
What about Miss Minutes? How did Miss Minutes come to be?
So I was actually in Toronto shooting an on-camera show called Pretty Hard Cases,
Pretty
and it
hard
was
case.
over COVID. And
Hmm.
I had this audition for a Marvel thing. I didn't know what the show was yet. And I remember calling my agent because the direction was a little bit vague. I'm like, is she sentient? Is she alive? Like, and they're like, she's like, I don't know. And they're very tight-lipped over at Marvel and DC. When there's
Good.
auditions that go up for good reason, they're quite protective. And I remember doing like three different versions, one like more AI, one more realistic, one with the accent. And then I booked it, and I didn't know until I booked it that it was Loki. And then in my closet in Toronto that I turned into a studio, I'm on a Zoom with the Loki team, the Marvel team, which was pretty cool. And they had already shot it, so like Tom Hiddleston had worked with like a puppet on set or some little prop or whatever. So I got to act off him, although he didn't get to act off me, but I did get to watch the scenes like how we are now live on Zoom and do the lines that they wanted or chase some of the action. It was really, really fun. And then there's another show that, like, what a great surprise that everybody loved her. What a great
Mhm.
surprise. That
Mhm.
was unexpected, and I'm very grateful for that too.
Yeah, that was super cool. Now,
Yeah.
when you got it, like when you found out it was Marvel, were you driving? Were you sitting on your couch? Like, did you turn the phone and scream, or like what did?
You know what? I'm going to be honest, and people might make fun of me for this. I've been in the Marvel world a long time. I was MJ on the Spider-Man series. I was the Scarlet Witch in the animated series. I've been Squirrel Girl. I've been Tara Markov. I've been a lot of characters in the Marvel world. So to me, it was exciting, but I didn't realize it was like life-changing. And people would say online, like, welcome to the MCU. I'm already in the universe.
Like,
But the MCU, meaning the on-camera
yeah,
world, is a different level for
yes.
sure. So at first, I was excited, but I don't think I recognized the magnitude of it until it came out and there was such a great positive response. And now, of course, I'm way deep in the Marvel MCU, and they invite me to the premieres and stuff.
Oh,
And
that's so
yeah,
cool.
it's really fun to be part of that family.
That's so cool.
Mhm.
That's really cool. So now you're
Mhm.
like, all right, I'll miss minutes. Where's my invitation to Deadpool and Wolverine or something like that?
It kind of happens. Kind of wonderful.
Did you get to go to that premiere?
You know what's funny? I didn't go to that one because I missed the invite in my inbox, and I was like,
What?
"Oh, wait a minute."
What?
But we did just get invited to another cool one, but I'm not going to tell you what it
All right. I'll wait for you to post it
is.
on social media.
Okay.
And like when you go, just for fun, when you go, are you planning like an elaborate gown or like are you just
If I was in the movie, I would definitely
oh, okay.
be more
Fancy
dressed
pants?
up for red
Yeah.
carpet stuff. Like we do red carpet, but I think I would feel kind of silly if I was way dressed over the top, just me personally, if I'm not in it. Like I'll be a little comfier that
Sure.
day. I'm still gonna look good because there's red carpet and Getty images and they're online forever. So if you have a hair sticking up or your outfit's terrible,
Like
everybody's gonna know.
is that broccoli in her teeth? Why didn't somebody tell?
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm still gonna look cute, but
But not
probably
like
like
that.
LA hip, you know?
Yeah, yeah. Are they I don't I mean and again you probably couldn't tell me even if there was, but if there was a season 3 and they had a premiere then you'd be like,
Oh,
like
heck yeah.
all
Oh,
yeah.
I'm gonna get dressed. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're gonna see like some dope orange gown slash cosplay, sexy Miss Minutes situation.
Sure. Sure. Now, speaking of cosplay, I've seen you dress as Harley that you posted online and like a New York Comic Con, and I've been like, oh my God, I wonder. I've literally been like, I wonder if I walked past her and didn't even know it.
That's what
Like,
I did. It was so fun. I've done Harley, Batgirl, Raven, White Raven, Ashi, Twilight, Um, Angel, that's an easy one. I love cosplaying, and the first time I did it was San Diego Comic-Con. I was dressed as Harley, and a lot of people walked by me and didn't know. Normally, when I walk from my hotel to the con, people are like, "Dur, dur, dur, dur," but people didn't know because I was dressed up, and people asked for my picture. And there was this one guy that's like, "Can I take your picture? Harley's my favorite." And you're like the 10th one I've seen today. I'm like, okay, Puddin'. And then I posed for the picture. I'm like, but am I your favorite that you've seen all day? And he looked at me. He's like, I don't know. I've seen a lot of good ones. So I was like, oh, I can't wait for him to get home and like make the
yeah,
picture a little bit bigger.
yeah,
And,
yeah,
and there was this other like
yeah.
family, and like was um the mom was Batgirl, one of the daughters was Raven, the son was Ben 10, the
Wow.
dad was randomly like they were all my characters, this family. and I was walking to Comic-Con with a director friend of mine, and they wanted to take a picture because I was Harley. So I stood next to the girl playing Raven, and I said, "Do you know who I am?" And she's like, "I know who I am." I was like, "Okay," and they didn't know, and they're taking this picture. And finally, my director friend's like, "You know, you're all dressed as her, right?"
And
It's
they're
kind
like,
of fun.
what?
Yeah, it's kind of fun. I like cosplaying too. It's just fun.
Yeah. It definitely made me be like, all right, I have to keep my eyes peeled. And speaking of the Harley thing, I remember the Comic Con of 20, what was it? The Comic Con of 2016 after Suicide Squad came out.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody, and even guys were dressed as Harley with the
Oh
outfit,
yeah.
with
Uh-huh.
the hot shorts and the,
Mm-hmm.
put in and daddies, this and
I
that.
see mostly Harley cosplay.
Yeah.
Boys,
Yeah.
girls, babies, old people. That's the best thing about cosplay. It doesn't matter what you look like, how old are you, how old you are, your body type, who you worship, who you love. Everybody's cool at cons and everybody's silly and it's the best.
Yeah. Yeah. My mom really appreciates it. She came with me one year
Yeah.
and she was a trooper. And I remember there was this guy who was Hawkman. And I mean, he had this elaborate like wings like out
Yeah,
to
it's no
here.
joke. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and my mom's like going like this and the
Yeah.
feathers are hitting her in the face and she's trying
Yeah.
to take a picture with the guy. Yeah,
Yeah.
it
Yeah, they
was
spend a
awesome.
lot of money, they spend a lot of
Spend a
time.
lot of money. Yeah, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Like
Mm-hmm.
I've had people ask me, "Hey, you love Batman. You ever think of cosplaying Batman?" I'm like, "I'm not worthy. I couldn't like
You
Batman's
totally should.
but it's like I just feel like I couldn't do it justice. Like he's just untouchable
You
and
should totally should. That's even more reason why you should.
really okay.
Heck yeah. I want to see those pictures next Halloween or con you go to. Get yourself a
Yeah,
dope Batman. Hell
there's
yeah.
there's I mean some of the people, like you said, thank you for that. They have, like the spandex one, and then there's some people who like the Robert Pattinson one. I saw a couple of those like with the like layers upon layers to where it
Yeah.
looks like a metal sheen.
Just do your favorite one.
Hmm. And it would be really cool to do the black like eyeliner, you know.
Yeah.
So when the mask
Do
comes on,
it.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
You're going to have the best time. You're going to be like, I'm alive. I did
Yes, be
it.
like, I want to take more pictures. Who wants to take a picture with Batman?
Yeah, that'll
Yeah,
happen.
I would totally ham it up too. I would
There you
ham it up
go.
so much.
I think we've decided, Brian. I can't wait to see the pictures.
All
Maybe
right,
you'll
I'll
do
be
it at a con that
Batman.
I'm at.
You'll tell me what day you're going, and then this way
Okay.
it'll be Batman and Harley.
Okay.
That
All
would be
right.
awesome. I would love that. So we've gone almost an hour. I don't want to, run over your time, but if you would indulge me with a few more questions.
Okay.
All right, thank you. What's your most challenging role? Like on camera or off camera? Like voice or camera?
Probably most challenging, I'd say, like vocally, was Terrence from Foster's Home, just because he was always yelling, always mean, always like if you're yelling all the time or it's like very deep, it still was fine, but it was maybe the most challenging. And on camera, I'd say maybe the Pretty Hard Cases. I was third on the call sheet. She was the bad guy for the season. It's basically if Harley Quinn was a mom, that was my character. And it was really fun to sink my teeth into her. Like, she was really fun. I got to do some fun stunts and, have some pretty deep moments with my kids, and I get shot in it. It was a lot of fun.
You get shot in it. Okay.
Mhm.
Say,
Mhm.
like that.
Yeah.
Weren't you Dee Dee? Were you Dee Dee in Batman Beyond?
I don't think
Hey,
so. Was I?
the twin girls. Hey, Dee Dee. Hey, Dee Dee.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I thought you were in like the Return of the Joker one.
Yeah, I think that's true.
Like, shut up,
That's
Nana
true.
Harley. Is there anybody else that you want to play in Batman's Rogues Gallery? Maybe like Poison Ivy or anyone else? Or are you pretty?
I've played Poison Ivy in the first DC Girls show as Poison Ivy in that.
All right, I missed
Yeah,
that.
I would like to do like maybe a more serious one. That'd be fun. Um, I don't know. I feel so lucky that I've got to play so many great DC roles. Like, I really have. I've really got to play a lot of great ones. I mean, if I had a choice, I would just say to keep going back to Batgirl and Harley. It'd be fun. Even though like I wasn't the first, I'm not the last. I feel like kind of cranky when other people do Batgirl or Harley.
Like that's
Because I feel
mine.
like, yeah, I feel like a part of them. They're a part of me. So nothing against the actors, they're all wonderful,
Sure,
but I
sure.
feel like, oh, that's me.
It's
But you know
it's
what? All voice actors feel connected to their characters in a
mhm,
way that feels symbiotic, which is another reason why it translates. Anyone that you speak to that's like, would you want to do this role again? They're going to say yes because they feel
absolutely.
like it's part of them, which is
Mhm.
why it feels true.
I think of it as like a recipe. Like, that's my lasagna. And then you see someone else make it, and it's like, yeah, but it doesn't taste the same because, like you're following the directions, but I put love into it,
Yeah,
and you
yeah.
can taste the difference.
Now you have to make me some vegan lasagna.
Lasagna.
Now I'm hungry. Thanks for asking.
Yes, yes. Regards Kevin Conroy, do you have a distinctive, definitive memory that is your mind always goes to or touched your heart the most?
Well, I think like the first day I was there, him really making me feel like I was worthy of this part and I belonged and I was one of the crew. Like there was never, sometimes when you come onto a show where someone's been a character for a while, you feel like the new kid in town, and he never made you feel like that. He always made everybody feel like they deserved to be there, which was pretty wonderful. And the other significant time was when he saved my life. I don't know if you remember, but for a while there was a guy verified on Twitter pretending to be Kevin Conroy. And he and I were chatting on DMs. He was verified. And he was talking about stuff that, unless you were in the studio or knew somebody in the studio, they were pretty specific stories. And I was pretty convinced it was him. And he had a lot of followers. I think he had like 70,000 at the time. It was like the first couple years of Twitter, and we made a plan to go have lunch at Comic-Con. And then I had to email Kevin about some other press thing we were doing together. And I said, it's been so fun catching up with you on Twitter. And he said, I'm not on Twitter. I said, what do you mean? He's like, I mean, I'm not on Twitter. I'm like, this guy is verified. He's like, yeah, he's pretending to be me. And I was going to go meet this person. And so at first I tweeted like, this is not Kevin. And some people came at me. But of course I was right. And then I convinced him to go on Twitter because everyone wanted to give actually him the real love, which he did do. But I don't know, maybe he saved my life.
Wow. Wow. I did not
Yeah.
know that. I did not know that. Thank you for
Mm-mm.
sharing. Thank you for sharing that. Wow. And as regards your Tara Strong voice school, what's going on with
hmm
that now? Like that's a brand new past couple of months, right?
Yeah, I'm so excited about it. Every con I go to, every day online, people say, how do you get into voiceover? How do you get into voiceover? And it's not really one easy answer. It's a
Mhm.
lot that goes into having success in this business. And for a long time, I didn't want to teach because I didn't want to take money from people and not be able to guarantee something. I can't
Sure.
guarantee myself work. I audition all the time, and I can't control if you pay for this, you're going to get work. And I really struggled with how to share my knowledge without it feeling that way. And my boyfriend's like, you have a community. Like, why don't you make it about community? And we started brainstorming on it. And so the short version is we decided to make it a very interactive class. So it's online. And I had a plan to pre-record um like episodes that are lessons, and I was gonna just wing it because I've spoken at colleges and I've just winged it and it was fine. But then I thought, you know what, if people are going to be paying for a membership, it's got to be something that's like very cohesive. And I sat
Mhm.
down and I started writing and I couldn't stop. I literally couldn't stop. And so there's like 20 lessons, some of them are very long, of me just saying everything that's in my head. So I share with the world everything I do in my process, and then it is also a community. We are group chatting on Facebook for our members. So, there's a girl that's like, I have to do this virtual job tomorrow. I'm doing the recording. Can you give me some tips? And I'm there for people that are up and coming or already have some work or whatever. And we had our first live event today with Lauren Faust, and we do this thing called Voicelings Legends, where we bring on people that could really impact your career. And then coming up, most people just want to see themselves animated. So there's going to be a feature where you can put your voice to a audition that's going to be animated and upload it on your channels and tag us, and then we will pick our favorites and post them, and then casting people will see them. So I feel like the community element, I feel like I'm giving something that I feel good about. And also, every time we have a guest come on, we donate $1,000 to their favorite charity. So today was Lauren's, and we did to the Dyslexic Society, and it's like this beautiful way to really feel like uh, there's community around you for people that like really, really want to do this. And like I said, I can't guarantee work, but I can guarantee that you're going to get all my information, all my secrets, get to hear from all kinds of cool people, and have community and have fun and have access to me. So that's the Voicelings.
Wow, wow. So if just to be clear, when people sign up for this, do you have pre-recorded lessons or are they
Yes, they're
talking?
all online. You
Okay,
can watch them at your own leisure, and then
okay.
we will have live events, both online and in person, coming up.
All right. Are you planning to do that at Comic-Con or like
Yeah, I think that would be fun.
that would be very fun. That
Yeah,
would be very fun.
yeah.
Wow, that's so cool. As you're talking, just kind of hit me. I had an out-of-body experience. Like, wow, Tara Strong is talking to me. This is,
It's
I am,
real.
it's real. I'm so grateful that you made the time to speak with me. And I mean,
Well,
number
you were
one,
very persistent and you were very nice.
well, thank you. I try. I really appreciate that because sometimes my friends are like, "How do you get these people?" And I'm like, "Well, it's just being persistent. And if you're just genuinely nice and you
Plus, you always show me really cool art. So I'm like, oh, I got to do this guy's show.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I love it because I like to draw too.
Oh,
So like
good. Oh,
when I
okay.
was when I was a boy, like you had mentioned, at the beginning about people talking about how comics saved their life. When I was a kid, I wasn't as gregarious as I am now. I wasn't as
Yeah,
comfortable in my skin. And so comics were my best friends,
I
you
love
know?
that. I
And
love
I'd come
that.
home from school after being, bullied or made fun of because I was wearing a Batman shirt, and then I would read Batman and I was ready for the next day, you know what I'm
I
saying?
love that. I love
Yeah,
that. Thanks for
yeah,
sharing that. I love
yeah.
that.
Do you have anything else that you'd like to say that people should know about besides your school or?
Um, just thanks for hanging out, and it's so nice to connect with fans and people and do good things. The one thing I love about Twitter is being able to connect with people and help with charitable causes. Like, it's really beautiful, like when you can do good things, like usually every con I'll pick a charity. And actually Kevin was on my podcast when we did a raise for one of the charities I work with a lot called Children of Peace, that has like schools with Arab and Israeli children together, or kids cancer things. Like, it's been since the beginning of Twitter that I really loved that part of it. So keep hanging out and watching, and thank you for everybody that donate. I'll usually like send autographs and do sweet things, but I love the community part. There's a lot of social that's not so nice, but the part that's nice is really nice. Like, you're really nice.
I'm grateful for you because I was like, well, Tara seems like a sincere, sweet person. We'll see what it's like when we speak. So I'm very grateful. Can
Well,
I?
hi, Puddin'.
Yeah.
Hiya, Puddin'. You're watching Sheehan is Dead Comics.
Yeah, you're watching that. So have a good time. Okay, bye.
Bye, bye.